Hi everyone. Hi. How are you all? I'm just gonna check we're up and running. Are we live? Is that happening? Probably not, because hey, it is Roxy and it is technology. Um, I'm having to there we go. There we are. Yes, it is. Hello. I'm currently I have a laptop now that is not 500 years old. You'll all be glad to know. I have a good internet connection because I'm at my mum's and I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee right now and just get this out the way because my mum is really she likes to keep things in theme. So enjoy. So hi, welcome. Thank you for all the messages we've had for people asking us to do more interviews and do more live shows. It has been crazy at my end. Technology, as I said, is not my strong point, but I have got a hold of the laptop. So here we go. We're gonna do an interview, and this is I'm actually gonna conduct this. So good luck. Just gonna point out they don't come up on this, but they definitely come up on Facebook. There is auto-generated subtitles. Um, Good luck. I'm sure everyone they will pick up Elliot fine, but there is a very high chance that the internet might explode when I'm asking questions. So I do apologise if that happens. But lovely Elliot has a lovely accent. Unlike me, that is really putting this on just so that we'll pick up correctly. So what we got? We have the one and only Elliot Bibby with us this evening. I'm not going to tell you much about Elliot, but I am going to tell you that Elliot is one of my favourite performers. He is a wonderful magician. He's a wonderful friend. And he's also one of my wee granny's favourite performers. He opened up our show at the Barrowlands as the first magician in the Barrowlands stage, to which my granny retorted, I don't know where he pulled his wine bottle from, but it makes me want to drink wine. So please, welcome to our virtual stage. It is Elliot, baby. Hey.
Woo!
Hi.
Yeah! Hello.
Oh, hiya. How are you, Elliot?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm excited.
I'm.
It's Tuesday evening. We're here coming to you live from my bedroom.
Oh, this is your bit. It's a very well organised bedroom. I would show
Well,
you my mummy's spare room, which is my bedroom, but it's chaos. I'm currently sitting in a bunch of PlayStation wires.
I am
Because
surrounded by a spare bedroom slash office slash mini theatre. There's cables everywhere. If I move, everything's going to start pulling over.
all right, you can tell you're not from Glasgow. You're like that. Oh, we've got our mini theatre in here. I'm like, we've got a DVD player and a telly in my house, and you've got to connect it to scat leads. Um, there's that. How are you surviving lockdown? What have you been up to?
Well, it's been interesting because probably about the space of like a week and a half, I'm going to have to use my words and enunciate because obviously these automated subtitles underneath are going to be hilarious. But yeah, I've been good. Initially, all my shows disappeared in the space of a week, all the way up until November, so that was fun. And then another blow was I don't know why I went that way. Another blow was the Fringe being cancelled, Edinburgh Fringe. So, but I thought I was in the middle of writing my show, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to create a new show online. So I've been doing the online Zoom shows. So it's been an interactive show. So they've been keeping me really busy, actually. And I found a passion for entertaining kids again. So doing kids magic, kids birthday parties, which that's been interesting. I don't think I'll go back to doing them after this, but they've been great fun to entertain the kids over Zoom, as well as doing birthdays and stuff. So they've been keeping me busy, as well as just writing new material. Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, at least you already have your show written for Fringe. Well, half the show written for Fringe next year, so maybe you will have a full show by the time Fringe actually comes. How many
Hopefully, yeah.
Fringes have you've done quite? How many Fringes have you done now?
I've done 6 now. Yeah, 6 fringes.
That's
4 with the PBH Free Fringe, great organisation, and then 2 in the Voodoo Rooms with Blonde Ambition producing me. So yeah, it's been really good. I've learned so much. Yeah, it's been a real learning curve, but they've been great fun. My year basically revolves around August.
Yeah, I feel like we're all at this point where it's like, what do we do now? I don't know if you're the same, but I always say August is when I go, oh, next year I mean August to August. I don't mean January to December. And now I'm a bit like, what is time? What is
Yeah.
this August where we're not in Edinburgh? But we'll talk about that later. If anyone wants to check out Elliot's shows, I've put a link before and I'll post them on the page, so you can see them. I do recommend them. He's all right at what he does. To start off though, you sent me over. You're really organised. You sent me over a wonderful list of things you've done. How did you've pretty much done everything? Like you've literally performed, and from Scotland to Australia, sold out shows everywhere. You've performed in Las Vegas, loads of other places. How did it start for you though? Tell us a wee bit about little Elliot.
So Little Elliot, when he was about that high, I'll tell you, now that we've got that out the way, it's a new gag. I thought we'd try.
I got it.
Yeah, Little Elliot, when I was about that, I was 10 years old, and I was doing like a sort of family trip down to London, and I went into Hamley's big toy shop, and I saw this guy demonstrating this little magic set. And Hamley's, for anyone that doesn't know, it's the biggest toy shop in the world. Well, it was at the time. In London, it's over 8 floors, I think it is. It's just filled with toys that the kids dream. And they have a magic section in one of on the floors there. And it's just basically this guy or several guys demonstrating all the tricks. So I got suckered in and saw this incredible demonstration on like a tabletop like this. And he was doing this incredible coin thing. And I ended up getting suckered in and spending all my pocket money on this one little coin trick. And then that was me hooked. I was always getting little magic tricks for Christmases and birthdays and stuff like that. And yeah, that was it. And did it through school, did it through high school, won the talent contest at Braes High School where I was at in Falkirk. And then, yeah, continued doing that. Then went to university, studied engineering for 4 years. And then did sort of magic through there. I remember doing my first ever gig as well. It was in first year uni. It was a private house party, and I still remember it to this day. I was so nervous that I was biting my fingernails, and halfway through this trick, I was literally sitting in somebody's living room to like doing a show to like 8 people, and I took a deck of cards and I was like spread them out. It was like a blue deck of cards, spread them out. I said, reach in, grab anyone you want, and then there was like bits of red on the cards. And I was like, well, that's strange. And I looked down, and my whole hand was covered in blood because I'd bitten the skin all the way back on my fingers. So then the lady was, oh, don't worry, I'll get you a little plaster. She took me through and she got me a plaster. I went back through. And even to this day, when I tell the story, I always tell it as like a lesson to other magicians, because it's so difficult to try and do sleight of hand when you've got a plaster around your thumb. It's really difficult to handle the cards. So yeah, that was my first ever gig. And then from that, I did at uni. I missed my graduation ceremony at university, to my mum and dad's delight, who might be watching just now, because I was actually working in a magic show out in Las Vegas for 3.5 weeks. And then I came back and was like, you know what, I'm going to be a full-time magician. What could possibly go wrong? I don't need that engineering degree. I'll always be able to do close-up magic within 2 meters of people, and I'll always be able to fill out theatres, pack everybody in, sitting next to each other. What could possibly go wrong? And then all this happened. Great.
But technology, hey!
I know technology has been great. So that's one of the things to say quickly is these Zoom shows have been amazing, because they're like, they can still get the interaction stuff with the magic, but I've been getting people that are having like family birthday parties. They're inviting not just their close family in Scotland, but they're inviting people from like Ireland and Australia and New Zealand all at the one time are experiencing these shows. That's been a really nice thing about bringing people together.
Oh, yeah, that's a positive. That's a positive.
Yeah, that was it. That was basically my little mini life story all the way up until throughout uni, and then everything else I've done in between, which I know you'll probably go into. But yeah, it's just
you did miss out that you worked at Hamley's.
Oh yeah, I did. So yeah, whilst I was at university, I worked in Hamley's in Glasgow, so I was the head magician there. Which, well, technically it wasn't my proper job title. My proper job title was demonstrator, which was basically demonstrating toys, so playing with toys every Saturday and Sunday. So I was living in Edinburgh at university there, in Napier, and then I got the train through to Glasgow, worked Saturday, Sunday, and the train back through to Edinburgh. So it was quite a good little weekend job, which sort of paved my way through uni. But it was an amazing experience to work there and learn how to sell magic sets as well as other crazy toys. One year at Christmas time, I got to basically just play with remote controlled helicopters. That was my job, was to sell remote controlled helicopters, so fly them around the shop narrowly and missing people's heads, and they'd be like, "Oh, whereabouts can you get those?" Boom, here you go, off to you. So that was it. That, throwing boomerangs around, catching them. It was an incredible job, great experience there. But the main thing was when it was busy, I was on the stall selling magic tricks. So it was coming full circle. I was the guy that was inspiring these young kids, well, hopefully inspiring. I know I inspired a few people because they would come back every weekend and go, "Can you teach me this one from the set? Can you teach me this one?" So yeah, it was full circle, which was quite a nice little story.
Good guy, Elliot. Oh, that's so good. So you did say that you had your magic tray there, or your magic trick. Do you want to show us a magic trick?
Show you a trick? Yeah, why not? Why not? Since we are here live, I'll show you a quick
Let
trick.
me make you. I'm going to remove my face from the.
Oh, here we go. So we're nice and big on the screen now. Now, I want to start off with a card trick. I don't actually have a. I tell you, we'll use this instead. This kind of looks like a deck of cards. A miniature little piece of red paper there, which looks like a deck of cards. We can just use our imagination. It's a red deck of cards. If we take the piece of paper here, though, and we give it a little bit of heat, we can actually turn it into an actual deck of cards just there. So now we've got the cards, we can do a trick with the cards just there. So we'll show you this just here on the table. All the cards, they are all different. Oh, they look all white to you just now. But we'll show you them up here. They are all completely different, all muddled up, brand new deck of cards. So we're going to have a few shuffles, and we're going to have a card selected. So Roxy, do you want to come back up onto the screen? If that's possible.
Hello. I'm at the other side now.
So obviously, people obviously can't put their hands through screen unless you've got sort of some magical ability to put your hand through screen. So we're going to have a card selected, but I'm going to move my finger across the cards like this, and I'm going to get you to shout out "stop" wherever you want. So you say "stop" anywhere you want.
Stop.
Just there, perfect. The 4 of diamonds just there. Now, are you happy with the 4 of diamonds, or do you want to change it for a different one?
Perfect.
Perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to sign your name on the 4 of diamonds because obviously you're not here to actually sign it. So we'll put Roxy. And we'll put. Is there anything else you'd like me to do to the card? I can draw a picture, do a little symbol, write whatever you want.
This might surprise people, but no, I'm quite happy. I don't need any symbols or anything on that.
Keep your eye on the pen as well. These pens are almost like magical wands, because when you tap it and stuff, they actually do magic. But if you just blow it completely, it disappears. I don't know where they go. I go through so many of these pens. So we're going to lose the 4 diamonds here, the only one in the world which looks like that. About halfway down the deck of cards. I'm going to show you how different magicians around the world shuffle cards. Okay, so in America, they like to shuffle cards like this, a little ruffle shuffle. A ruffle shuffle like this. In the UK, they like to shuffle cards like this. A little sort of overhand shuffle, like this. I don't like to shuffle cards like that. Okay, I'm going to show you how I shuffle cards, and hopefully we can get this on camera. We'll do it at the top half. So they're just in shot. I like to shuffle them face up the way into face down the way. Okay, so face up into face down. So we've got a real mess on our hands here. Okay, so face up cards into face down cards like this, and we'll push them in. So we've got a real mess on our hands. So some cards are now face to face, some cards back to back, all completely muddled up. But what we know for sure is that your 4 of diamonds is somewhere in the middle. Now, this is where the magic happens, because all you need to do is just wave over the top, just like that. And what happens is every single card actually sorts itself out in the deck of cards. They all now face the correct way, face down the way, apart from your 4 of diamonds. Thank you very much. That's the great thing about performing online shows like this, is that we don't have any hecklers, and if you do, you can just mute them. And you don't have people grabbing the cards. It's greatness. That's the trick. No, I'm just kidding. I will show you. I will prove to you that every single card now faces the correct way. Just there, every single card, apart from your 4 of diamonds, just there.
Oh, even I'm still like, whenever I watch you, I'm like, what's happening? Like, I can't. I think you are like, I think you're a wizard. I'm just saying. I mean, I think that's what you are. You did touch on
that's an opening trick. If you get people to hang around for the whole thing, they'll see a lot more. Especially at the end, the finale trick is just incredible. That wasn't my proper opener though. That wasn't my proper opening trick because I've just got my big opener here. It's my big opener.
Oh, Elliot. I'm like, sorry, Elliot's streaming. You touched on something I did want to ask you about. How are you finding it not having a live audience?
It was really strange because to be completely honest, I basically felt like one of these, like the cam girls that sit in the room and then they do like things and then they just sort of finish the show. Huh?
I do happen to know about them.
So then they finish the show and then end of the live stream, whatever, it's finished, and they just go through to the kitchen, make a cup of tea. That's what I was like initially. I just do the half-an-hour show, perform the magic, and then just say bye everyone. You all enjoy that, great. And then end the stream and just go through and sit in the living room and watch TV. And go, I've got another show in 10 minutes. I better come back through, get all ready. And it felt really weird initially because most of the stuff obviously that I do is really live on stage or the close-up magic, interacting with people and having a laugh. But after the first few, it was almost like normal. It was just really good because I've been constantly out performing 4 or 5 times a week at like cabaret nights or comedy clubs or at weddings or parties and stuff. I thought going into this lockdown, I need to continue performing and working on material and just sort of trying to do these live things. I'll grab any opportunity to try and perform and do something. So it's been quite good to just continue performing. But as I say, initially at the start, it was strange.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I agree what you say about hecklers. I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna block you. Bye. Although even though up for a minute, I was like, maybe this could just be the future. But I'm like, no, I'm too much of a narcissist not to be like defamed to not have that applause. How do you? So we said you've done the Fringe quite a lot. How do you come up? Because I've seen some of your shows. I was in the same venue as you when you've done your show with Dave, and then the Illicit Thrill is in the same venue. It's Voodoo Rooms, and I know you've done Magic in a Jiffy. How do you come up with your concepts for your show? Because you're not just standing there doing magic. There is a theme and a story behind it. And so how do you come up with those?
So there's. I'm one of these performers that. To be honest, I don't think I've ever written a script in my life and stuck to it, which makes me a nightmare when you try and put me into other shows. I'm really selling myself here. So I always love to like ad lib and sort of make stuff up as I go along. For the Fringe, there is sort of a set structure, and especially in a sort of magic show, you've got to hit certain points and have certain people say or do certain things if you're sort of building up to the finale and such. Although I did a show, when was it? It must be about 3 years ago now, with another magician, Dave Rubens. It was called Elliot, Dave and Elliot's Wheel of Magic, and it was an improv magic show. So I think it was the first of its kind in the world. And we basically I was basically going to be taking a year off the Fringe. Because I thought doing 3 years, I'm like, I'm a veteran now.
That never happened, ever.
Not the case. But then I thought, when sort of the time came and everyone's sort of chatting about doing the Fringe, and I was like, I really need to get my sort of Fringe fix. So we did this show called Dave and Elliot's Wheel of Magic, and the improv magic game show. And what we did was we had this big wheel, and we'd have a guest magician every night. And we basically had random words written on the wheel. I think it was 12 words, but then every night we would rub 4 off and get audience suggestions. So they'd give us like a random word to write on the wheel. We would then spin the wheel. Whichever word it stopped at, we had 10 seconds to decide who was going to do a trick and what trick they were going to do relating to that word. So it was really like, I say, it was almost like an improv sketch show, but with magic. Now, anyone that knows magic is it takes years to sort of create a trick and craft it and hone it. So for us to try and, I mean, it was a real test to try and come up with a brand new trick in 10 seconds relating to a word. So some of the audience words that we had were just like, I mean, I remember one it was big toe. So I'm like, I've got 10 seconds to come up with a trick. When we had like a big box of props backstage of like decks of cards and other random props and stuff that we thought that we could maybe try and engineer into doing something. But big toe, I remember I had someone sign a card up on stage, sign a card, and there was lots of delaying tactics. Like I would like take the mic and say, okay, right, I need a mic stand now, which is on the other side of the stage, so we'll wander over. That buy me a bit more time to try and think of what I'm going to do. And then put that in, and yeah, so I came up with the trick. The effect was someone signed a card, placed it back into the deck of cards. They took the cards, threw them up towards me. I did like a karate kick and kicked the cards, and then I'm hobbling around with my foot in the air, and then took off my shoe, took off my sock, and inside my sock, beside my big toe, was their signed card. And I mean, that was just one trick. We were coming up with like 4 or 5 tricks a night for the full run, and we would get like a guest act in to do like a 10-minute slot as well, and we had other little bits and pieces throughout the show. So that was like sort of one concept that we came up with. It was me and Dave. Another show, well, the first ever show I did was called Bibism, sort of a play on my name, and I've always sort of tried to include my name in the show titles. That was Bibism, which was a really random selection of tricks because it was my first ever Fringe run. I only did a week. It was in the Liquid Rooms, which one of my favourite venues to perform in. That Liquid Rooms and the Voodoo Rooms, 2 favourites. Just tell me if I'm running over because I can go off on a tangent.
I don't know.
So, but yeah, that was Bibism. I did it for a week, and it was just whatever tricks that I had to basically just throw together on stage. And then I did a big trick at the end, which was genuinely one of the most, I'll say, terrifying tricks for me to do. But it was basically, I had a card. I love card tricks. Had a card signed, lost back in the deck. The deck of cards went back into a box. The box was placed on a table, and then I blindfolded myself. But the way I blindfolded myself was to take black electric tape around my eyes. I then took a bag, placed the bag over the top. I then put more tape. Oh no, so I had a dish towel. So the dish towel over my eyes, black electric tape around, a bag over my head, more tape round, and then something else. But I basically had I couldn't see, and I genuinely could not see. And then I was fumbling around for these cards, and then I had many thumb cuffs as well to put on. So I had to escape from the thumb cuffs, attempt to try and find the card using my mouth, and then do this all blindfolded. And because I was generally blindfolded, the first night I did it, I actually passed out for a bit while standing there because the tape was too tight around my head. So it was around my temples, and it was basically too tight. So I sort of blanked out for a bit. And because it was so hot as well in the venue, I eventually came back around again. But I didn't realise I had all this dramatic music playing. Everyone just thought it was part of that. But it did actually take me a lot longer than normal to try and find this card. So that was my big finale. So that was lots of tricks thrown together and then a big finale at the end. Second year I did a show called Bibs and Bobs, I think it was, which was just another random bits and pieces thrown together for the big finale. Then I did a show called Travel Magic, which is what it says in the tin. It was to do with travel and magic, and that sort of there was a big prediction at the end. So I handed out a sort of like a travel wallet to the start to somebody, a random person in the audience. They passed it around to a couple of people, and then at the end of the show, they opened up the wallet. And I'd never met this person before, but on the inside the travel wallet was an envelope that had their name written on it, and it was generally their name. They opened up the envelope, and inside it was a boarding pass to basically 4 or 5 different things that would sort of been predicted throughout the show. So somebody had named a random location. It was Edinburgh to, say, send like LA. It was on the boarding pass. It was Edinburgh to LA. It had time. It had like the snack they were going to get on the complimentary club snack they were going to get, and just loads of different things on this board path. And that obviously changed every night, which was fun. And then so that was all PBH free Fringe, and then I jumped to doing a TikTok show at the Voodoo Rooms, and that was McMagic Moments, and that was a Scottish themed magic show, which had a big sort of theme to the end, and I was tying in different things. So for me, in terms, and then last year's show as well, which was what was that, Magic in a Jiffy. So I'll always try and chat to a few different people. I've got like people that help consult on the show and write little things for me. But I just love doing like completely random bits and pieces in a show. And the more random a sort of prop, the better. And I'll try and create a routine around that and then see how it fits for the show. So the thing about Magic and Jiffy was all the tricks came from Jiffy bags. And you know what it's like at the Fringe? Like you've literally got 15, 20 minutes between shows to like for their audience to come out, for the previous show audience to get out, you to get in, set up the show, get into costume, all that stuff, makeup, and then set the show up and then get the audience in the space of like 20, 25 minutes. So it's all so hectic. So I thought, right, I'm going to write this show specifically for the Fringe. Everything goes in a cardboard box in a Jiffy bag, and that was it. So I was like, right, okay, Jiffy bag, right, this trick, next, this one. It wasn't quite like that, but everything sort of tied together, and there was a big sort of finale at the end, which all made sense. So yeah, I always try and think about where the show's going to go, how it's going to play, and also as well, is it going to be, I mean, Magic's great because it's almost like dance. Like anyone in the world can understand it. If you don't speak, if you're Scottish and you don't speak, usually people can understand my accent. I've got almost like I've got like a stage voice that I put on, and when I see other people are like from Scotland and they're like, they see me perform, like, why are you talking that strange accent? I'm just like pronunciating and using my words. But yeah, it's like I'll always try and create a show around where it's going to be performed, and that's why I sort of pick my material of where it's going to be performed. So if I'm performing in like a 100-seater cabaret venue, I'll say, right, okay, I'll maybe want something to do with a bit of audience participation initially, or something visual, like you were saying about the bottle, about your Graham. Just love that bottle production at the start of producing a bottle of wine, and so it's things that people will remember, but they'll also remember me from it. So if I'm going down, like say I'm a Scottish magician, I'll do a whole Scottish themed act, which sort of getting known for now as being the Scottish magician. I'll sort of go,
right, going to jump on the Glad's Vegas. All right, cool.
I'll think of something like, okay, well, I'm wearing a tartan jacket. I'll then produce a bottle of tonic wine, or a bottle of Buckfast, and just sort of tailor it that way and play up these stereotypes. So that's the short answer.
We have spoke a lot about Fringe. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody, more specifically, let's say a magician going to do the Fringe, what would your advice be?
My biggest piece of advice was just do it. I mean, there's so many people say, "Oh, I'd love to do the Fringe," or "I'd love to do this," or "I'd love to do that." And I've just sort of realised over the last sort of couple of years, is you just got to go and do it, and just forget about what anyone else says. Forget about if they're like the top of the field. Say you're a magician, you see like, oh, these incredible magicians are doing it. I'm not as good as them. Like, you just got to go and do it. Like, you've got to start somewhere. You can only learn from these things. You're not going to be amazing the first time, but also as well, you've got to have a reason for doing the Fringe. Like, if you're going to do the Fringe and you want to make money, it's not worth it for that. But if you want to come and you want to do, I mean, last August, I think I did just over 80 performances. So not all full hour-long shows, but like I was running around doing guest spots at over 80 shows in the space of 3 weeks. So if you initially go, right, I've got a 15-minute act that I'm going to put in a guest spot in a show, I'm going to run that. It's going to start, middle, and end. I want to basically, I've just written it, and I want to basically have it corporate ready for like corporate events. Like, you can just run stuff, and it's great to just trial out new material. And especially if you're doing like your own 1 hour show, you can trial out all this brand new material, which then you can then, after the Fringe, you can sort of reflect and go, right, well, that worked, that didn't work, I'll maybe try this. And it's just a great place to get stage time experience. I'm one for just going out and getting as much stage time as possible. that's what all. I mean, you look at all the greatest. I'll go off into magicians. Look at the greatest magicians in the world, and you've got the likes of like David Copperfield, Penn and Teller, like these two acts. Like they've put in hours in Vegas. Matt King, another guy, as well. Matt King, he's three Vegas headliners. They're doing like 7 or 8 shows a week, and it goes to show that's why they're the best, because they've constantly performed thousands and thousands of shows. So the more you can perform, then I think the better performer you'll become. So, and I'll say the Fringe is a vehicle to do that, because you can just get so much stage time. I mean, the Fringe as well. I've performed in like, I've performed in like rooms in front of like 300 or 400 people, and then I've performed at like 1 a.m. in the morning at the Three Sisters in front of like 6 drunk students. So it's like you just got to like you sort of, all the ego goes out the window. It doesn't care like what you've done, if you've performed in Vegas or you've gone out and performing at corporate events for like 20 grand or whatever. If you are performing at corporate events for 20 grand, then I think we need to have a conversation, and I'll get in touch.
I'm gonna pop this up because I keep looking over here because I've got my laptop here and I'm going from the phone. But there you go. Billy Nelson says 10 out of 10 show. 10 out of 10. I don't know if you know Billy, but 10 out of 10 show.
Billy's a good friend, man. He comes and supports me at all my shows.
Oh, there you go. Biggest fan. Does he sign your card?
Sorry,
does he sign all your cards?
Does, yeah.
For Fringe, for anyone that is considering going, here is a piece of advice as well. Drink lots of water, and even though it's not happening this year, book your accommodation for this year, for next year now. Like, just do it, because everyone's going to be like, it's crazy to get it. So you touched on a couple of people there that you know in the magic world. Who have been your biggest inspirations?
My biggest inspirations, it sort of comes and goes. There's probably three main people at the moment. One of them's one of my best friends, a guy called Chris Dugdale, who I actually met at the Edinburgh Fringe. It must be about 8 or 9 years ago. But it was basically when I was like, I think I'd just come out of uni. I was in my last year of uni. And basically there was an advert out saying, we're looking for a young up-and-coming magician to basically sell magic tricks at the end of the show and flyer for us. And I was like, yeah, right. I applied to the advert like a week late, but I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to apply for it. What's the worst they can say? No, or they've already got someone. And they hadn't got someone, and it was Chris and his producer Tony. And I went in as this young, inexperienced magician, doing a few gigs and stuff, and I learned so much from Chris. And I was literally just flying for him and hanging out with him. That was the first year he did his show, and then after that, he came back again. I did the same. I fly for him, and then I did a little bit of like magic in the crowd, the queue. Sorry, as the queue was going in, I was entertaining people as well as flying and other stuff. And then the year after that, that's when I did my first show at the Fringe. But I was also working for Chris, and I had like a little mini cameo in his show as well. So, and then we've just become best friends ever since. And we've done gigs together. We've traveled all over the world doing stuff, and so he's been a real mentor, and I've learned so much from him, and consider him one of my best friends. And so he's been one person I've looked up to. Next person is a magician called David Williamson. David Williamson is like a comedy magician, really well known in the magic community, and he's done a lot of stuff. He's someone that I looked up to because I tried to do comedy magic. I always have this debate. I'm a comedian doing magic or a magician doing comedy or attempting comedy, and I'm definitely not a stand-up comedian. But funny story is, the past 2 years ago in Australia, at Fringe World, I got nominated for the Comedy Award.
Oh, wow.
So, and then this year, I actually won the Weekly Comedy Award at the Fringe for my show. So for everyone that's told me that I was not funny, there you go. Australians think I'm funny, so I mean I should just move over there.
Scottish a lot, man.
I know, so he's sort of the comedy magician, and then the third person is a guy called Ben Earl. Ben Earl, incredible sleight of hand artist with like cards and coins, and someone that I really aspire to be like almost. Really, really nice guy. In fact, a couple of his books on my shelf there. So if you're into magic and you like that, then he's got a new book called The Shift, which is pretty good. I don't know why I'm plugging magic books on this. But that's where you learn from these people, and yeah, really nice guys. So they're my sort of three main people that I sort of aspire to, my idols.
Oh, yeah. So where are we gonna go now? So what is a couple more questions. So what is your most? So I people were asking what are people's favorite gigs or their favorite, but there's so many answers for that. Like, you know, like people were coming on and going, oh, it was the Barrowlands, and I was like, no, you don't have to say it was a show I was involved in. I like you anyway. What was your most memorable gig? And it can be for any reason. If you want to give us an example where it was really positive or something that just was like, what weird? Like, what has been your most memorable performance?
One thing, so I can tell you, so I perform at like private parties, I perform at weddings, like doing close-up magic, and then I perform the stuff on stage as well. So I'll give you one from each. So the first one would be that first ever gig that I did at that private house party, cut my finger. That's just always sticks out for me. Like half the cards were covered in blood, they stuck out as well. What was it? And then weddings, right? So this was about 3 years ago. I got booked as a surprise, and I always find out if I'm getting booked as a surprise. I got booked as a surprise to perform at somebody's wedding, and I'd been booked by the father of the groom, okay, to perform at his wedding, and it was in Glenskirley, in Cumbernauld, Glasgow. And this was, I think it was the first day of the Fringe, because I still do wedding gigs at weekends. I do the week during August, as well as doing the shows as well, because my shows are like 6:30, 7 in the evening, which is just ridiculous. So I'll do like the wedding in the afternoon. So I drove all the way. It was about an hour's drive, 45 minutes hour drive. Drove through there. It was the first day of the Fringe, which and from doing the Fringe yourself, it was so stressful.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if things are going to work and how it's going to run, and so I went out, drove all the way there, and I was always going to be cutting it fine anyway, time wise. So I drove out there, and I'm waiting, and I'd been booked by the father of the groom. So the bride and the groom didn't, or I think the groom knew, but the bride didn't know. And it turns out that I basically was performing. So the moment the ceremony finished, they did all the ceremony. The moment that ceremony finishes, the couple go away and they get the photographs taken, and then during that period everyone's like, what do we do now? Drink. Where's those canapes for? But that's usually when I come in and I entertain people. So I'm basically patiently waiting there for the ceremony to finish. The ceremony finishes, the bride and groom come out, and the bride sees me and her face just drops. She's like, and I look and I recognise her. I know her from somewhere. So then they walk out, and she's just like, well, what are you doing here? I'm like, I've been booked to entertain you. It's a surprise. She's like, I absolutely hate magicians. And then that's when the penny dropped and it clicked. And I'd actually met them at a wedding show that I was doing. So it's like a trade show, but for wedding suppliers. And all the couples walk around, the brides and brides, grooms and grooms, bride and grooms. And they all walk around, oh, that'd be good at our wedding, that'd be good. So trade show. They'd actually seen me at this, and they'd like swerve around me. I was like trying to chat to them. Hey, nope. And the groom and the guy came back to me and he was like, sorry, she's just petrified of magicians, doesn't like them. So it turns out 6 months later, I'm there standing at her wedding, being booked as a surprise on the first day of the Fringe. So I'm standing there going, right, okay, I really obviously don't want to be here. Well, obviously I do want to be there entertaining, but I could, an hour drive, Fringe show, and so I'd already been paid everything up front. So the father's bride came right. My father's groom came out and said, I'm really sorry. I didn't realise that she hated magicians. Can you just leave? I was like, yeah, do you want to see a quick trick? So I did like a 5-10 minute performance with him and a couple of others that I actually gathered. And then he's like, on you go. He's like, doesn't matter, I've already paid you, just head off. So drove back to Edinburgh, did my first run of shows at the Fringe. That was a good start to the Fringe that time. That's the one. And then the stage thing is, it's got to be the Barrowlands. Like, I was a friend of mine, you know, as well, a good friend, Stephen Blair, a magician, who he actually mentioned me like a week before, saying, you do realise you're going to be the first magician in history to perform on that stage. And I was like, what? So it was just an amazing experience, nerve-wracking. Like I usually only get a little bit nervous before gigs, and I think if you hear anyone that says, "Oh no, I don't get nervous before gigs," I think it's almost like they don't care about the gig anymore. Like I always get a little bit nervous before gigs, which obviously shows that I care about them. But that was just on a different level, especially when you walk into the Barlands and you see all these names, and you're like, "Oh." So I've listened to your music, I've seen you live, and then it's just such an iconic place. So it was a real privilege to perform at that stage. So thank you for that.
I'm still at that point where it's still not quite hit me yet. It's still a bit like, okay, and I think it's gonna hit me this year when we have to do everything. We do everything online now. We're like, oh wow. But with the Barrowlands, and I'll say this to everyone that performed there, it would not have been the show it was if it wasn't for everyone. So it was an absolute privilege to have everyone because people just liked it and it was fun. And yeah, I've got.
Oh, we cut off.
So yeah. My internet cutting in and out, so I apologise if I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing everything right. What else did I want to
missed the last few seconds there, but we'll just pretend it. Just edit it out.
Basically, I was saying you were wonderful.
Oh,
You're like,
thanks.
I'll say it again because I don't often say it. I'm always like, Elliot, what are you doing? But yeah. So we've done it. We've done our shows. What advice would you give to anybody that is starting and that wants to be a magician? Whether they be little ones or whether they be a bit older, whether they be 30-year-olds and decided that they're going to do a Scottish magic show since someone's failed. I'm joking. But what I mean, I'm only 21, so it's fine. So what would your advice be to anybody that wants to go into magic?
I think, well, there's lots of different magic clubs situated in Scotland and also around the UK. So, I mean, or even just chatting to any magicians that you see out there, I'm all for sharing. Like, I'll share anything. Like, and people are always like, "Oh, Elliot, you're giving away this, you're giving away that," and I'm like, I like to share stuff. So, like, if anyone wants to get into magic or is thinking about it or wants advice on anything, like, I'm always happy to chat or consult on anything. Like what I did for Gypsy John. She was like, I really want to try and create this thing, and I know that you as a magician.
Remember, this show is before 9 o'clock, right? I know it's the
I'm going to
everybody on the stage knows that she's like.
I know. She's like, I need to be able to do this, and I want to be able to do this. Could you sort of help me do it? I'm like, yeah, okay. And within the space of like 5-10 minutes, we created this mini prop that basically helped her get the effect that she wanted to get on stage. So the thing about magic is that there's so many sort of techniques and props and all sorts in magic that can sort of help everything. So anyone at all, and even like performers or anything that want advice on anything, only like a message away. I've got so much time for anyone, so just send me a message. Yes, so I think, chat, if you're a magician wanting to get into magic, there's, especially in Scotland, there is a little shop called Tam Shepherd's, which is on Queen Street in Glasgow. It's one of the only remaining brick and mortar magic shops or joke shops in the UK, and I think it's very important, especially in this current climate as well, to try and support them. They've just moved most of their stock and stuff online as well, so they supply costumes and props and all sorts in there. So if you're looking for anything from like a fake poo to a fake custard cream or a new mask or a hairpiece or a magic trick, they've got everything, and if they don't have it in stock, they can order it in for it. I think it's great. So I mean, even just going in there and asking, I'm looking to do a few magic tricks, the people behind the counter, they'll be able to help you out with stuff, or even just chatting to, as I touched on earlier, different magic circles. There's lots of amateur magicians who do it as like a hobby and stuff, or part of these magic clubs, and they sort of come together every once a month or twice a month, and they're doing a lot of stuff online as well. There's lots of magic lectures and stuff. And for me, though, I always try and recommend books. That's why you see behind me, I've got my mandatory bookshelf behind me, because every sort of online Zoom sort of chat or interview has to have a bookcase behind it, doesn't it? Or a lava lamp for ambiance. But yeah, I think books are so good because there's lots of hidden gems inside books. And the thing about books, you can learn magic off YouTube, but if you learn something off YouTube, you're basically just copying what that person's doing. If you read it, then you sort of have to interpret it yourself, and then that's when you create your own style, and you're not just copying someone. So that's where you can be more creative. So I think learning from books is a big thing. And as I say, there's books hundreds of years old that have got all these hidden secrets in them. I was reading something from a manuscript last week actually, and it was like some of the techniques in it, or how to create these tricks, are just, you wouldn't be able to do them nowadays. It's just like, now take your top hat off and hide this dove in your this whatever. And if I was about to say a method there, but better not, because giving away secrets get thrown at the magic circle. But yeah, books are great, and just practice. Like I said earlier, just get out there, show as many people as you can, and you learn so fast.
Yeah. Sorry for sneezing. I was like, what? Yeah, that's that's the same with, I think, any performing arts. Like books are you're always going to get those hidden gems in there. And I mean, magic has a huge history. Like it's incredible.
Record everything if you can when you're performing. Like, this was it with technology nowadays. Like, even if your phone, just set your phone aside the stage, or if you're practicing something, and especially as well, like, you can perform to a camera like this, which we're doing all the time now. But if as soon as this lockdown's lifted, like, get out there and perform. I'm going to be performing like this now. Take out anyone you want. But yeah, it's try and perform to live people if you can, which I know is pretty difficult at the moment, but getting out there performing in front of live people and record it, because then you can watch it back. I mean, I've got some horrendous videos. I've actually that first that talent show that I did at my high school, I've still got a video of that.
Oh, please tell me that's going on the website.
I'll send you. It's like me, like tiny little, like 17-year-old Elliot doing like these tricks. It's just like, looking back though, when you look back and you can see how far you've come. Even looking back at videos from like 2 or 3 years ago, you see how far you've come as a performer. It's always good to, when you're feeling down sometimes, just to go, oh, actually I did that, or look back at what you've done and what you've achieved and how far you've come. So I think recording yourself is definitely top.
Who knew you would grow up to be like, there's you and there's like Griffin and Jones and Stephen Blair and there's and Cammy Gibson and yourself, and I'm like, they're like the boy band of magic. Look at them. That's who they are. Who knew that's who you would grow up to be, Elliot? There is a link below for Tam Shepard's. For anyone that's interested, head there. And also, I know what the trick was that you taught Gypsy Charms, and she told me that it was probably one of the most interesting things that she had seen for a magic thumb. So take from that what you will, everybody. You've pretty much answered everything I had. You've touched on French, everything. The one thing that I'm really interested to know is if you could perform to anyone, anywhere, who would it be? Who would you want to perform to?
That's a good question.
Also, if you have questions and you quickly want to throw them up at the side, throw them in there.
If I was to perform to anybody in the world,
alive or dead?
It used to be Lewis Capaldi. I always wanted to perform to Lewis Capaldi because I thought it'd be hilarious. And then last August, I actually got invited to perform at his like big album party thing, which happened in Edinburgh. After he did the 2 shows in Edinburgh, he had like this big after party, and I actually got to perform for him. And I basically performed a quick trick, and this was also during the Fringe. So after doing, I think he did like 5 shows that day, and then went and performed at the party afterwards. And it was just mad spending like 10 minutes performing to him. Like, there's a clip online. I think it's on my social media somewhere, but he literally just dropped to his knees and was just like, oh, amazed. I have to perform to someone. You know what? I'd love to perform to the Queen, just to say perform to the Queen. Love to perform to the Queen. Who else? I don't know. Yeah, I think the Queen. my friend Chris Dugdale, he's performed for the Queen and loads of royalty, and said they're really nice people.
Hopefully you won't cut your finger or bite your nails.
Imagine that would be 10 minutes before you cut your finger. Oh. I don't know who else. I just love performing for everyone and anyone. Like, if anyone ever sees me and they say, "Oh, can you show me something?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." No matter what, just
I
grab
just
something,
so happen to have this tree.
grab like a spoon and a napkin, or I love performing magic to everyone and anyone. Yeah, so and the thing is, like, you see all these big celebrities, but at the end of the day, they're just normal people, and the people
Yeah.
that I've met have just been so down to earth, so nice, really nice people. So yeah, but I'll have a think. That's a good question. Who like performed?
Well, to finish off,
Yeah.
have you got anything coming up? Have you got anything booked? What is going on in Elliot? Well, listen, we're being optimistic. Like, we might not have Fringe, but there'll still be Viva Las Vegas. I've still got going online, and I'm planning the next festival. So, what is next for Elliot, Bibby? Even if he's in lockdown, I'm going to pop up your link again. So, this is where Elliot's live shows are. But what is next, or what is the ambition next year?
Yeah, so like yeah, I'm still working on new stuff. I'm working on new stage material. I'm doing these online shows, which I'm absolutely loving, and they're so good because I've had people come on. They're like, "Oh, you've always been." I sound big heady. Like, you've always been like so expensive for like parties and stuff like that. But with these online shows, it's so reasonable, and like to do like half an hour show and get a performer to do it, and everyone's like trying to offer like all these things. So they've been great. I continue doing them for as long as possible because it's really nice, as I said earlier, bringing people together from all over the world. So I'm doing those. I also run with another girl, Mary, a thing called the Edinburgh Magic Show, which we set up 2 years ago now, I think it is. I think it's 2 years. Maybe it's, no, yeah, 2 years ago. Edinburgh Magic Show, which is a bi-monthly magic show. Happens every couple of months in Edinburgh, and it's basically we get a comedian to host it, and then we get all the top magic acts all over Scotland, and then usually a few guest acts coming in from around the world, and we put them on. They were a slow start, really intimate, close-up venue in Edinburgh, and they were really, really great fun, and it gave obviously magicians a platform to perform. So I think we're going to continue doing those in a new venue. Oh, that's an exclusive. Ooh,
Oh,
not that one. So we're moving venue for that, but it's I don't know if I was about to say that or not. Oh well. Your
it's
6
live. It
followers
doesn't
are going to
matter.
get or anyone that watches. That's an exclusive, so we're moving venue. So we're continuing doing that. I think we might do an online version of that as well. Edinburgh Magic Show. We'll continue doing these shows. I want to keep performing at the Fringe. Like, I'll probably do some more live shows. I've been out to Australia to do in Perth at Perth Fringe, or Fringe World it's called, out there. I've done that for the last 3. I think this is my 3rd year, second. I can't remember. I lose track. Second or 3rd year. I don't
Yours
know.
don't feel the same. They don't feel the same for performing arts.
This lockdown is getting to me. It's getting.
And it's warm out there. I can't. I keep saying I'm going to go there. I'm like that. I am Scottish.
Do it. Just do it.
I'm so Scottish. I don't even pronounce the T's in Scottish. Like.
I mean, that was another thing that I learned. The first year I went going out there to try and perform in a 3-piece suit in a tent, like a Spiegel tent, in like 35-degree heat. Was like, it had like a heat wave, and it went up to like 40 this year. I'm like absolutely sweltering. So like that's just even that is just a learning curve. Like how to, like, a deck of cards like in heat will warp. Like even like just now with these lights, they actually just warp. So they basically do that. So trying to do sleight of hand with hands that are sweaty, and like that's just a new level. So you learn stuff from that. That usually happens around January, February time. So I don't know if if they open the borders to us anyway, to let anyone from the UK travel out to Australia. That might be my next thing out there. What else? Yeah, basically just gearing up for the Fringe next year.
Everyone's the same. I'm just waiting for Fringe, so
Yeah.
it will be over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be busy next year with all the wedding shows and stuff. So I'm a vegan. I don't eat flies. So I think just gearing up. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of wedding gigs and stuff. So basically, everyone's had to unfortunately postpone their weddings. to next year. So I was already, I mean, for when John's get booked like a year or two in advance. So I had lots of bookings for next year, and now this year everyone's had to postpone to next year. So I'm going to be so busy, like flat out next year. If I can see it out to the end of this year, I'll be fine.
Well, at least you'll be out of trouble if you're busy, right? Keep you from misbehaving.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna round it off. We are gonna. You've got your cards out. You are literally like, I've got a tray. If you want me to do a magic trick, would you like to do another one?
I'll finish off.
I assume that's a yes, but let me put this out there. We're going to end up in fringe fashion. Elliot has given us his time. There is, if you would like to send him any tips, please send them below. All the artists that are doing these interviews are giving us time, so please help them out because they're legends. And obviously fringe isn't happening, so you know. So yeah, the PayPal is below, and then I'll leave it to Elliot, and then we'll do the thank yous afterwards.
I'm going to keep you here because I need to. In fact, actually, no, you don't. You can make the screen big if you want. You can send
me. I will make it big.
Amazing. So, this trick that I'm going to perform is 3 or 4 minutes or so. We'll do this quickly. Before you send me your money below, your hard-earned cash, or if you're getting furloughed, just fire me all your furlough pay. This trick actually is one of the favourite ones to perform. I created it about 4 or 5 years ago, and this trick alone won me the International Brotherhood of Magician Close-Up Magician of the Year 2018. Oh yeah. It's not as geeky as it sounds. A big collection of magicians coming together, and they all compete for this title. And this was it that won it. So I'm actually going to teach you how I do this trick. I'm going to teach you how you do it. So, in fact, actually, can we get rid of that link a second so we can see the cards? That's annoying. It's like you never hear this. Like a magician say, "Can you just get rid of that link where people can give me money?" There we go. So we've got the signed card just there. We're going to draw a few more stars on it just here, just to make it unique, and so you can recognize it. I'm actually going to teach you how I do this trick. Spoiler alert. Here we go. I'll keep your eye on the pen as well. These pens are solid. Oh, that hurts sometimes. Okay, so this is how I do the trick. So we've got the card just there. The trick is I don't actually do the trick. I've got 2 assistants here that do the trick for me. So we've got the black and white joker there, which hasn't got any colour, and we've got the colourful joker there, which is all being coloured in. So they're going to help me do the trick. So what we're going to do is we're going to lose the 4 of diamonds here about halfway down. In fact, let's put it a little bit higher up, about there, in the deck of cards. And what's going to happen is we're going to get the 2 jokers, there we go, to go into the deck of cards to try and find that 4 of diamonds, okay? So the colourful joker just here, it's going to go into the middle of the deck of cards. All we need to do is just do the magical move, just like this, give the joker a little rub, say the magical words, Erdnase, and you can see that it goes all the way into the middle, just like that. We'll take the black and white joker now, and now this time, we're going to do it one-handed. Ooh, one-handed, here we go. Watch closely. So we take the black and white joker here. All you need to do is just give it a little shake like this. As we give it a shake, it goes all the way into the middle to try and find that signed 4 of diamonds. Okay, so at this moment in time, the 2 jokers, they're running around the deck of cards. They're trying to find that signed 4 of diamonds. I think they've got it. Okay, so I'm going to spread the cards out, and hopefully the 2 jokers will have found the signed 4 of diamonds. Let's have a look. Nope. Just here, in the middle, the 2 jokers have found 1 card trapped between them. So out of all these cards just here that they could have gone for, they found 1 card between them. Let's have a look, see if it is the card. It is in fact the signed 4 of diamonds just there. Woo, the crowd goes wild. Now I do realise that I didn't really teach you how I did that trick, so I'm going to break all the rules of the magic roundabout. The magic circle, and I'm going to teach you how we do. So we've got the black and white joker, we've got the signed 4 diamonds, and we've got the colourful joker there. We'll leave the cards down there. So joker for joker. Now magicians try to cheat sometimes. They try to hide things in their hand like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, the invisible Heidi move over here, which leaves me with the 2 jokers over here. Now, the reason I didn't do the normal Heidi move and I did the invisible Heidi move is this isn't a very natural position to be in if I'm sort of strutting around the house. So if someone, or down the street, so if someone challenges you and says, hey, you've got something in your hand there, you're hiding something, that's when you can sort of turn it over and be like, nope, I don't have anything in my hand. But secretly, you've got the invisible 4 of diamonds there because you're doing the invisible Heidi move. So hopefully you can all see it there, it's just invisible. So I'm going to place it, well, of course you can't see it, it's invisible. Why did I say you could see it? I'm going to lose it back into the deck of cards like that. So the 4 of diamonds is now invisible in the cards there. Even the 2 jokers, they can't see it because it's invisible. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have to sort of reverse the process, sort of have to flip it a little bit so that we can get that 4 of diamonds back. Now, I guarantee you this will be the trick that you talk about after this show's over. You'll be like, how did he do that trick? That crazy magician, Elliot Bibby. I'm going to tell all my friends about it. I might even book one of his live online shows because he's got no work till November. I wish that was a joke. So what we're doing is we're going to make every single card here invisible. I'm going to spread them out on the table, and then hopefully the 4 of diamonds will come back. So every single card turns invisible, the 4 of diamonds comes back for the big finale, and then the PayPal link comes up at the bottom. You all throw me whatever money you want. You might even just give me a like on Facebook because I really need to boost them. So here we go. The big finale. Every single card here turns invisible as soon as I spread the cards on the table. Just here we go. Watch this. We spread every single card on the table. Every single card turns invisible in front of your very eyes. Every single card invisible, apart from the signed 4 of diamonds, just there like that. Thank you very much. They are all here. There's the 7 of clubs, the 4 of spades, the Queen of diamonds. They're all there. Every single card now invisible. Thank you.
What just happened there? Actually,
I go through so many decks.
I was like, what? How did? Oh wait, I've got to be back on. Everybody, please, you can't send round, you can't cheer and whoop, you can at home. But if you send lots of likes and lots of love hearts, please give Elliot a huge round of applause. Big finale. Bye-bye! Thank you so much, Elliot. You've been amazing. I don't know how you. Number one, I don't know how you put up with us at burlesque shows, and number two, I am like, what? It's just happened. So thank you so much. I'm gonna pull you out the stream just now. Bye. And talk about how amazing you are again. Please, everyone, give me a huge round of applause. Yeah. I am gonna be posting links to Elliot's shows and his Facebook because he does need to up his likes, as I said, in French fashion. If you want to send some tips, that would be wonderful. He has given us his time, and Elliot he constantly supports the burlesque scene, and he comes and he does shows and he puts up with us backstage when we're all like throwing glitter everywhere, and Elliot just shows up looking suave in his jacket, like, hello, yeah, and everybody's granny loves him. Everybody. So that's the perfect endorsement. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. I just wanted to say a quick apology. We've not been as good in social media. It has come down to the fact that my laptop, it was this. You want it? I don't even know what it is. Oh, here it is. This is my laptop. It is about 500 years old. It is, and that is me being kind about it. So yeah, it's been all over the world, but sadly it is breaking. So I know everyone. So we will be starting to do some more shows and some more interviews. We're gonna do the karaoke hour and we're gonna do another quiz. So yeah. So if you've got anywhere you would like to see, send them our way. And we'll try and organize that for you. But for now, I hope you're all good. I hope you're all safe. I hope that you guys, as I said, are all listening to your granny. And I hope as well that you guys are all out there supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Because you should be. So I hope everybody is staying safe when they're doing that as well. Please, as I said, one last round of applause, and I will see you all at some point in the future. I think